All right, so Coinbase, huh? You've heard the name, maybe even used their platform, but get ready for a wild ride because this deep dive is going to be eye-opening, to say the least. We're talking insider info, surprising twists, the whole shebang.
Buckle up.
Yeah, seriously. They started with this Gmail of Bitcoin idea, right? Simple, elegant,
Right.
but then, bam, world domination. One article compared them to Amazon, but instead of being the everything store, they're aiming to be the everything finance, platform payments, investments, the whole nine yards, all under the Coinbase umbrella.
And the crazy thing is, they're not that far off. We're talking millions of users, billions with a B in assets under their management.
It's mind-boggling.
This isn't some little startup anymore. Coinbase is a major force in the financial world, and frankly, it's making some traditional institutions pretty nervous.
And I can see why. But here's where things get really spicy. That ambition, that drive to be everything finance, it's put them directly in the crosshairs of regulators,
Oh, yeah.
especially here in the US, where the crypto laws are about as clear as mud. One source actually called it a crypto Wild West, which honestly is a pretty apt description.
Couldn't agree more. And that brings us, of course, to the big one, the SEC lawsuit. We're not talking about a parking ticket here. This case has the potential to completely reshape how crypto is regulated in the U.S.
No pressure, right?
It's a huge deal, not just for Coinbase, but for the entire industry.
Absolutely. But before we get lost in the legal weeds, let's step back and talk about the average Joe, the everyday user. Because at the end of the day, Coinbase wants to be the go-to platform for anyone and everyone looking to dip their toes into the crypto waters. Buy, sell, trade, you name it, they've got it,
They've definitely positioned themselves as the gateway to crypto.
for sure. And they were on a tear for a while there, over 100 million users at their peak. But then,
Ah, yes, the catch.
the catch, because not all users are created equal.
It's right. You see, Coinbase, they make most of their money from trading fees. More trading, more money, less trading, less money, even with a gazillion users.
Right.
And that's where things get interesting because they've had to get creative to keep the revenue flowing.
Okay, so spill the tea. What are they doing?
They're diversifying. We're talking staking, custody services, things you don't usually associate with your average crypto exchange.
Right, but it makes sense when you think about it. Stake, that's like earning interest on your crypto, right? Huge for long-term holders.
Exactly. And custody services, that's all about security, which is a big deal for institutional investors.
Okay, so we're talking hedge funds, big money players who are interested in crypto but want that extra layer of safety and trust.
Precisely. Coinbase knows they can't just rely on us little guys, especially with the crypto market being as volatile as it is. They're going after the big fish, and these services are their bait.
And that's where things get really wild. Like, hold on, did I hear that right? Wild. They're building a whole new blockchain, a blockchain called Base.
Yeah, you heard that right.
It's like they're not content with just being a platform. They want to create the entire dang ecosystem.
It's ambitious, for sure. But strategically, it's a brilliant move. See, one of the biggest hurdles for crypto, even among like the diehards, is the whole speed and cost issue.
Yeah.
Transactions, they can be slow. Fees, they can be outrageous. It's just not practical for the average person, you know?
Right. It's like trying to buy a cup of coffee with a bucket full of pennies. Technically possible, but nobody wants to deal with that.
Exactly. And that's where Base comes in. This one article, it called it building express lanes on top of the existing crypto highway.
Kind of love that.
Right. It's a perfect analogy. It's about making those crypto transactions faster, cheaper, smoother, the whole nine yards.
Okay, so that makes sense. Faster transactions, lower fees. That's a no-brainer. But they're also trying to get app developers on board with Base, right? Building on top of it.
Yeah. Think of it like this. If Coinbase can make the most user-friendly, developer-friendly blockchain out there, they win. It wouldn't even matter if they completely lost the SEC lawsuit.
Really?
Think about it. If they've got this amazing platform that everyone's using, regulators almost have to adapt.
It's like they're playing 3D chess while everyone else is stuck with checkers.
But hold on, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We talked about the SEC, but there's another big, scary elephant in the room here. The whole too big to fail problem.
Yeah, that's the elephant that nobody wants to talk about. We're talking about a company sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of digital assets.
That's terrifying when you actually say it out loud. Right. And sure, crypto is volatile, we all know that. But what happens if Coinbase itself goes belly up?
It's like the whole 2008 financial crisis all over again. Remember those too big to fail banks? Is Coinbase turning into the crypto version of that?
It's a question that keeps a lot of people up at night. One analyst in this report, he actually used the term systemic risk, which basically means if Coinbase goes down, it's not just crypto investors who get hurt.
Oh, no.
The shockwaves could ripple through the entire financial system.
Okay, now I'm really nervous. But Coinbase, they're not subject to the same regulations as those big banks, right? I mean, they're not held to the same standards.
Not yet, anyway. And that's what makes this whole situation so precarious. Coinbase is stuck in this weird gray area between traditional finance and, well, the wild west of crypto.
It's like they're building the airplane while they're flying it, except the plane is full of digital gold and everyone's watching to see if it crashes and burns. So let me get this straight. We've got Coinbase, this company that's like pushing the limits of finance, right? They've got millions of users, they're building their own blockchain, but they're also dealing with this massive lawsuit and this whole too big to fail thing hanging over their heads. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It really is. And I think that's what makes Coinbase such a fascinating case study. They represent this strange duality that exists within crypto itself. You have this promise of decentralization, of taking power away from the big institutions, but then you have the reality of operating within a system that's still very much centralized.
It's like they're trying to build this new decentralized future, but they keep having to play by the rules of the old centralized one.
Exactly. And this one article, it actually called Brian Armstrong, the CEO, philosopher king. Like, he's not just the CEO. He's got this grand vision for how crypto is going to change the world.
It's kind of funny though, right? Because for all the talk about decentralization, you've still got this one guy at the top calling the shots.
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can Coinbase and Brian Armstrong really reconcile their, libertarian ideals with the reality of operating in a regulated market? Or
Right.
will their ambition end up being their downfall?
Talk about a cliffhanger. But honestly, that's what I love about these deep dives. We're not here to give you all the answers. We're here to give you the information, the background, the stuff they don't tell you in the headlines. We want you to form your own opinions.
We want you to walk away from this, not just knowing a bit more about Coinbase, but really understanding the bigger picture here. Because this isn't just about one company, right? This is about the future of finance, the future of technology even, how we think about money, value, all of it.
It's about whether this whole crazy experiment we call crypto can actually change the world for better or worse.
And that story, my friend, is still being written.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So the next time you see Coinbase in the news, remember this conversation. Remember the ambition, the risks, the potential, all of it. Because trust me, this is one story you're going to want to keep following.
And on that note, I'll leave you with this thought. What if Coinbase's success doesn't depend on playing by the rules, but on building something so amazing, so revolutionary, that the rules themselves have to change? Something to think about, right?
Absolutely. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.